Hi everybody, and welcome to my channel. And here is another video of some more James Bond trivia. This time, the man with the golden gun. While on location in Thailand, Sir Roger Moore found a cave full of bats. He couldn't resist seeking out Sir Christopher Lee, telling him he found and joking the master that had York to command. Lee appreciated this joke. In his autobiography, Sir Roger Moore said that while filming the boat chase, he fell in twice. The first was on purpose because they told him to do it, and the second time was an accident. On the second fall, Moore made a mistake of opening his eyes underwater and saw what the local undertakers did with the bodies of the less fortunately. Director Guy Hamilton admitted that he added the side whistle to the car roll because he didn't think there was a way the audiences would take such a stunt seriously. He has since regretted this. One of the lowest grossing Bond movies. The fact that combined behind the scenes problems nearly made this the final Bond movie and delayed production of the next entry into the franchise, The Spy Who Loved Me. The island used in filming location for Scaramanga's beach house is known as James Bond's Island. Before actor Christopher Lee had a brief career in the British Secret Service in which he studied several languages. One of these languages was Swedish. Offset he spoke Swedish with Britt Ekland and Maud Adams. According to Sir Roger Moore, director Guy Hamilton wanted to toughen Bond up more in order to be closer to Ian Fleming's original intent for the character. One of the ways was having Bond twist the arm of Anders behind her back and threaten to break it unless she told him where wanted to know. Moore didn't enjoy filming the scene. So Christopher Lee named Francesco Scaramanga as one of his favourite roles. Travelling to the Los Angeles for The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, 1962, to promote this movie, Sir Christopher Lee had his golden gun confiscated by US Customs. Britt Ekland admitted being terrified when filming the scene when she and Sir Roger Moore escaped from Scaramanga's Island. In his autobiography, Moore pointed out one particular shot right before the second explosion goes off. When Ekland falls to the floor, according to Ekland, that wasn't acting. Moore came back, picked her up and helped her to go on. Scaramanga's island hideout has since become a tourist attraction. During filming, the island was deserted. When doing the title sequence, title designer Maurice Bender ran into a problem with one of the nude models. After a few minutes of trying to film to get it right, Bender smeared her pubic hair with Vaseline. She gave Bender the brush and told him to fix her hair to how it needed it. The whole thing was seen by Sir Roger Moore and producer Al Saltzman, causing Moore to turn and quip, "In your producer of this film, you're not getting the perks." The title role was originally offered to Jack Palance, before it went eventually to Sir Christopher Lee, the cousin of Ian Fleming, who was known as the man with the golden pen. Fleming had previously wanted Lee in the title role in Dr. No in 1962. Although James Bond and Francesco Scaramanga are enemies in this movie, Sir Roger Moore and Christopher Lee were close friends, dating back to the early days of their respective professional acting careers. Sir Christopher Lee wore a full body makeup to give the appearance of having a tan. This movie marked the first time Sir Roger Moore fired his water PPK in the Bond film franchise. The Man with the Golden Gun was the 13th and final complete James Bond novel written by Ian Fleming. It was the first and only one of his full James Bond novels to publish. Some seems claim unfinished at the time of his death, whereas other experts such as and John maintained that Fleming had completed before he died. In the dinner scene with Scaramanga, Bond says there's a useful 4-letter word and you're full of it. The same could be used again by Bond, as this time played by Timothy Dalton in The Living Daylights. First James Bond movie to be shown at the Kremlin, according to Sir Roger Moore. Producer Harry Saltzman wanted an elephant stampede in the movie, so Bond and Scaramanga could chase the elephant back. The rest of the blinked at the idea, but Saltzman wanted to see the elephant trainer. It turns out the elephants need a special shoe on their feet to protect them from the rough surfaces when they work. Harry Saltzman sold 50% the Bond franchise to United Artists to the very large financial difficulty had occurred. As a joke, Gentleman Llewellyn, Sir Roger Moore, wrote fake dialogue for Q, and they gave him the script to give to Llewellyn after he spent an whole month learning the lines and he was about to come on set. Originally, this movie was to follow on Her Majesty's Secret Service, with George Lazenby playing Bond. Lazenby even briefly reported that it would be his follow-up to the media before changing his mind and quitting the role. This is a James Bond movie on which partnership between Harry Saltzman and Albert R. Broccoli said to have deteriorated. Sir Roger Moore stated in his DVD order commentary that it occurred behind closed doors. The Bottoms Up strip club kept the same interior using it until it was closed in 2004. The secret headquarters for MI6 in Hong Kong Harbour was the wreck of Miss Queen Elizabeth. The Golden Gun was manufactured by John from several tobacco and associated with, such as a cigarette case, fountain pen and cigarette lighter. Mark Lawrence, who played Rodney, the gangster who was shot by Scaramanga at the beginning of the movie, also played Vegas Hood, who worked for Slumber Incorporated. Diamonds Are Forever. The second unit, still shooting in Bangkok, was forced to return to England a few days earlier when political unrest erupted in the city. The movie bears virtually no relation to the book other than the name of Scaramanga. When a wax figure of Sir Roger Moore was used, Moore's stunt double, Les Crawford, was the cowboy figure. Scaramanga's solar gunfires and invisible laser beam, which is true to science, as laser beams are invisible. According to the Inside the Man with the Golden Gun 2000 documentary on the DVD, during production the fifth James Bond movie, only twice, Albert R. Buckley and Howard Shorter re-intended this movie to be the sixth entry in the Bond film franchise, shot in Colombia. As Sir Roger Moore was considered to Sean Connery's shoes, the second James Bond, however, the Vietnam War caused the producer to change plans and pick on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Filming began on November 6, 1973, with double filming for Sir Roger Moore. Wasn't scheduled to begin shooting until April. When Bond says the energy crisis is still with us, to him, he had a lot to it. Britain had yet to overcome the oil crisis of 1973. In early versions of the script, the character of Nick Nack was originally called Dame Tessa, and a business partner called Lou Fat, a character which was scrapped. The last James Bond movie to be directed by Guy Hamilton. Felix Leiter appeared in the novel, but was absent from this movie. He would not appear in Bond movie again until The Living Daylights. Two scenes written by Richard Mulbane was either eliminated or shortened before filming began. The first at Q at Hong Kong Airport, Carrie trying to persuade Bond to use a gadget-laden camera on his trip to Thailand. In the fight in the dancer's dressing room, Sir Roger Moore sprays one of the villains in the face with a can of Brute 33. The original plan was to shoot in Iran. This was Red Balloon. The start of the Iraq War was using the calling of the filming there. With the first meeting Bond in the car, Kenny Hips an easy greeting with two different languages. Producers took out a 2-year option on rolling cast to prevent anyone else performing it in public. During shooting, the cast and crew had to take 1-hour boat ride to the set. They decided to leave the equipment overnight and employed 2 security guards to watch over it. One night, Sir Roger Moore said that 2 large generators were stolen. The guards claimed they saw nothing. So Roger Moore and producer Albert R. Broccoli would often hit the casinos between takes, usually to play at the roulette tables. When Britt Ekland read the news that Maud Adams had been cast, she became upset, thinking that Adams was selected to play Mary Goodnight. Producer Albert Broccoli then called Ekland to invite her to the main role, as after seeing her in a movie, Broccoli thought Drummond's looks made her a good cast as Adams. The idea of the Golden Gun in James Bond universe precedes the 1965 novel and Ian Fleming's villain Auric Goldfinger, the 1999 movie Goldfinger. Sir Christopher Lee is the only actor to play a Bond villain who was actually related to Ian Fleming. They were cousins. The original teaser trailer features a short clip not used in the final cut, When Bond is chasing Scaramanga on his island, he throws a Molotov cocktail and shoots it, causing it to explode in a ball of flames. The duel was shortened as the producer felt it was causing placing problems. During the belly dance scene, Sir Roger Moore was wearing a brand new suit while the scene finished. As a gag, producer Albert Albright got on a ladder and poured a bucket of paste all over Moore's new suit. The game shown at the casino during the Bullet drop off a Chinese dance game called Biscuits featured in the same scene used to follow more players in the game by dropping and receiving bet money for the players on top level. The last Bond movie co-produced by Harry Saltzman. Tom Malkovich wrote the first draft of the script in 1973, delivering the script at the better of worlds between Bond and Scaramanga, which saw Bond's alter ego, a supervillain, as well Bond himself. Tensions between Malkovich and director Guy Hamilton. Malkovich's growing sense that he was feeling really tapped out on Bond. He laid to Melbourne as the Bond screenwriter. Britt Ekland had been interested in playing a Bond girl since seeing Dr. No. John Barry had only 3 weeks to compose the score. When Maud Adams returns to Scaramanga's hotel room to steal the device, Christopher Lee is laid down on the bed with the arm crossed on which is a nod to Rose as Dracula. This is the 11th James Bond movie and the 9th in the Eon Productions official film franchise. It's the second James Bond film to star Roger Moore, the 11th to feature Bernard Lee as M and Louis Maxwell as Miss Moneypenny, and the 9th to feature Desmond Llewellyn as Q. Principal photography didn't begin until April 1974, but the scenes involving the wreckage of the Queen Elizabeth were shot in Hong Kong on November the 6th, 1973. When Bond first meets Goodnight on screen, the premise is that they've already known each other, only time in the Bond franchise as a backstory. Hitman Scaramanga charged $1 million per kill for the golden bullet from his golden gun. Christopher Lee served as an RAF pilot in World War II, but he was forced to give up flying after being grounded due to his eyesight problem. He would be then commissioned in the RAF Intelligence, where he would work with SOE and SAS and the Long Ranger Desert Group in North Africa. A poster for the movie being released in Christmas 1974 promised a Christmas present from James Bond. The present had a golden fountain pen that screws into the body of Bond, and Scaramanga's duel was inspired by Shane. Just before Lieutenant shows up, Gibson could be seen ordering a whiskey and a ginger ale, and not in the actual drink of James Bond's choice in the books. Britt Ekland's then husband, Peter Sellers, played James Bond double in Casino Royale in 1967. This is the first Bond movie since Dr. No, where Bond does not rely on Q's gadgets to survive, but rather relies on his wits. During the fight with the henchman in Beirut, Roger Moore was seen visually actually punched Well, since blood running down on his lower lip at the end of the fight. In the novel and this movie, Scaramanga Christopher Lee has an additional nipple which can be known as a nipple. Director Guy Hamilton decided to put Mark Lawrence, whom he had worked with in Diamonds Are Forever, to play a gangster shot dead by Scaramanga at the start of the movie because he found it interesting idea to put sort of a Chicago gangster in the middle of Thailand. Long-time director of photography Ted Moore quit halfway through the production, either through illness or disagreements with the producer on who you ask. This movie features two Swedish actors, Maud Adams and Britt Ekland. Adams appeared in as title character and two other Swedish actresses. Thailand was chosen as the prime location following a suggestion of production designer Peter Morton, as he saw pictures of Pang Bay in a magazine. Producer Harry Saltzman was happy with the choice of Far East for the setting. He'd always wanted to go on location in Thailand and Hong Kong. The gun Scaramanga used to shoot the cork out of the bottle when Bond arrives on the island was a gold-plated Colt 45. Roger Moore and Clifford James died 1 month apart in April and May of 2017. One of the rumoured titles for Spectre, which proved to result the title Devil May Care, was the name of the respectable by Sebastian Fuchs and set in to this movie. Christopher Lee had served with the British Continental Volunteers helping Finland fight the Soviet invaders in 1939. He was commander and was foremost British intelligence chief. I thought it was one of the James Bond character M. Director Guy Hamilton adopted the idea of his involving Bond in Disneyland for Scaramanga's Funhouse. The Funhouse was designed to a place where Scaramanga would get upper hand and distract his adversaries with obstacles. Director Guy Hamilton met Maud Adams in New York City and cost her because she, intelligent and beautiful, they seemed she was perfect Bond girl. The final mention of Ernst Savro Blofeld in an Ian Fleming Bond story was the star of the novel The Man with the Golden Gun. So Roger Moore and Christopher Lee played Detective Sherlock Holmes in Sherlock Holmes in New York, 1976, and Sherlock Holmes and the Leaving Lady, 1991. Filming began on the Thai coast, continuing in Bangkok, Hong Kong and Manchu. An earlier cut of the film contained an extended queue scene and a longer cut of duel between Bond and Scaramanga. The former scene featured Q equipping Bond with a force camera that concealed in a mini rocket launcher and a martini shade and with an explosive. The camera could be seen. The final cut of the film is sitting right next to the microscope Q uses to examine one of the Scaramanga's golden bullets. Like Dr. No, this movie he does this in the book The Spy Who Loved Me. To get Scaramanga's island involved, the cast and crew truck through a village traditionally inhabited by pirates. This is the only Bond film where Roger Moore actually runs, and he does after the karate scene. Moore made clear to the producers that he didn't want to be filmed running, as it made him look awkward. The third of 5 James Bond movies where the title is the same of the villain or criminal organisation movie. The others are Dr. No, Goldfinger, Quantum of Solace and Spectre. After the novel was published, this movie was made. 2 James Bond novels were written with a similar topic, beginning with The Man, There's a Night. This is the first Bond movie seen only twice, in which James Bond was the same actor in the previous movie. In this movie, highly paid assassin Scaramanga, Christopher Lee, had made golden bullets manufactured by himself. Actor Robert Darboux, who played Bond villain Frances in the Bond movie Licence to Kill, starred in a film called The Legend of the Golden Gun, which is similar to the Bond movie, The Man with the Golden Gun. Christopher Lee, Scaramanga, and Bernard Lee previously played in Dr. Terror's House of Horrors in 1965. Well, that's the end of my Man with the Golden Gun trivia. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all again in another one.